I'm Denise Lanman, your host for Chamber Chat, and joining me today are Amy Holthouse and Kim Thurlow to discuss manufacturing matters. Hi ladies, how are you today?
We're great, thank you.
Great, thank you for having us.
I'm very glad to have you here. Tell us a little bit about what manufacturing is.
Well, Manufacturing Matters.
Manufacturing Matters
was a collaborative effort between Corporate College at Ivy Tech, the Economic Development Corporation of Wayne County, Work One, and the Chamber. It spun out of an effort that was something that we heard about at a sectors forum at Corporate College with our regional manufacturers. And we were all very excited about what they were doing. Craig Lamb over in Lafayette had done something similar. And so after the sectors forum, which would have been 2012, the fall of 2012, after that meeting, we met as our little collaborative group to discuss what they'd done in Lafayette and said, hey, we think we can do this here in Wayne County and in our region. What do you guys think? And that was kind of how it got started, right?
Mm-hmm. That's exactly how it began. And actually it's grown into a cross-regional initiative. So we actually have 5 different counties involved.
Wow.
We have 11 founding manufacturing partners. We have mayors involved, city officials, local officials.
Other chambers.
Other chambers. And what I think is really unique about this model is that it allows people to self-select for this opportunity that's funded for them through a scholarship process so that they can get the skills that employers have all said they will value. Mm-hmm. So when we talk about the skills gap and trying to constantly solve that for manufacturers, which are so critical to our economy, we finally landed on some common language. So the employers are saying, this is what we want, this is what we value, and this is how you can pursue that, be funded to get it, and really get a good job with good benefits to take care of your family. Mm-hmm. So that's what's exciting about this model and makes it different.
Nice.
And as an employee or someone maybe out in the community looking for a job or looking to what do I do next in my life, what steps do I want to take, this opportunity is just, it's really very unique. And I would say, nothing's guaranteed, but we have 11 manufacturers in this region that stand behind this and say, like Kim said, this is what we're looking for. We're going to value this. This means something to us. And so if you get to the end of the training and you have this credential to stand on, you have something of value to someone who could potentially hire you.
What's even more exciting to the employers, along with the credential that Amy spoke about, is that the people going through this training take their own time. It's 166 hours.
Wow.
There's 140 hours of technical training. Mm-hmm. There's 26 hours of employability skills because our employers were surveyed and they told us how important it was to be able to communicate and work with teams and present yourself properly and be professional. So they are on their own, outside of all of their normal responsibilities and duties, going 4 days a week, 4 hours a day, many of them staying after and working on holidays and coming in when the lab's open. We even have a time clock in the room. So the employers can see at the end of the experience what their attendance was. They've been drug tested. They've been certified. So all of these things that typically employers would need to vet in their process, people are going through it on their own to say, I believe in this opportunity. I believe in the community investing in me. And they come out of it at the end a really, really valuable commodity. So that's what's really exciting and I think unique about this program.
And such a unique, I think a very uniquely community-oriented process in the funding. As Kim mentioned, there are folks who will qualify for, and I don't know the proper terminology, I wish our Work One person was here, but they have certain funding that's available to them that certain folks qualify for. But then beyond that, our community has come together and we have funding sources from the Wayne County Foundation, the Economic Growth Group, Economic Development Corporation, the Chamber, and others have contributed to this pot of dollars that upon certain qualifications, if you're coming through as an applicant, we can piece those dollars together to make sure you're fully funded. So that we feel like, as Kim said, when they're self-selecting and going through, most of the folks coming to this, their time and energy and effort in getting to this stage is a huge commitment for them anyway, and then the dollars on top of that might make it insurmountable. So we wanted to make sure that if they got to all the qualification levels and made it through all those hoops, that the dollars would be taken care of.
So that is more in a scholarship form. So for people who are interested in this program, not from the manufacturing side, but as far as attending to receive this education, the dollars are there if you're willing to jump through the hoops and accomplish everything that you need to accomplish. There's no reason why they can't participate and benefit from this program. So explain a little bit about how someone going through this class is benefiting. What all are they receiving and then going to be able to pay forward to the employers?
Okay. The program, the formal curriculum, is called the Certified Production Technician, and it is a national manufacturing credential. If you achieve the certification at the end of the training, it's a 4-part test. You actually have academic currency at Ivy Tech. It's good for 6 credits at Ivy Tech in the manufacturing program if you choose to go on. But the students go through a hybrid format. We have a facilitator, a trained certified instructor who's got manufacturing experience, who delivers a lesson each day, and then the students work in a computer lab doing online simulated learning modules. And our partner in that is Amatrol, a very high-end partner who delivers that kind of online training. The trainer can then walk down at Ivy Tech and grab micrometers out of the lab if they're doing a session on micrometers and bring them in so the students can see them and do some hands-on. We also do tours to the partner firms. Not all of them, but we select a few each rotation, so they get to go out and see the processes for our partner firms. And so they come out of it with quadrant knowledge in 4 areas: safety, manufacturing processes, maintenance, and quality. So those 4 areas are common to all manufacturing. I don't care if you're making automotive parts or food, or dog food. Those 4 quadrants are what all manufacturers see value in. So if you can put somebody through a training that's this intense, that has this kind of certification, they come to the floor with a very general knowledge and proven drug screen, proven attendance record. So they really are a highly valued commodity with our employers already.
And the employers really look at that.
Well, and I think if you look at the 11 partnering manufacturers at this point, the diversity is just as Kim described. I mean, it's everything under the sun, and all of these people signed up just almost immediately saying, we want that. And so you can go to the website, is manufacturingmatters.info, and it lists all the partner firms and everyone that's been involved and a lot more information for anybody that might be interested. But I think when you look at that, it just says a whole lot about that this is a great starting point for someone who wants to get into manufacturing.
The partners also have a stake in it. Not only do they get first access to these students who graduate this program, if they hire someone from the program, which again is not required, we don't get in that market, that's up to them, it's a free marketplace. If they hire one of the people who completes the Manufacturing Matters program, when they're employed on day 91, they pay back half of the training fee into a sustainability fund. So that is when the partners start kicking back and going, we see value in this, and it helps keep that funding stream open for future classes. So we're just wrapping up the first class. They're going through their testing. We have 12 that are completing, and we're taking applications at manufacturingmatters.info through February 7th. So we really encourage everyone to go through the process and get in the pipeline for this opportunity.
It's very exciting. Well, and I have to toot our little horn. At the annual Chamber Dinner Awards, we received the Collaboration and Education Award. So the 4 originating groups that I mentioned, the Economic Development Corporation, Work One, Corporate College with Kim, and then the Chamber, we kind of started this ball rolling together, and truthfully, we need to recognize our employers and our boards for allowing us the time. A lot of this was volunteer hours. This did not fall under anybody's work plan. We just saw that this would be a value in the end if we could make it happen to all of our work plans, and so we kind of just made it happen outside our regular scope of work and came together as a team. So the Chamber saw that as a value, and we received I just forgot the title of it. Anyway, the Collaboration for Education Award, Partner in Education.
Yes.
So we were very excited about that, and just want to make sure that everyone knew about that too.
It is a truly amazing organization that you guys have pulled so many people together to use and promote what is needed in the manufacturing area, and to get that many mayors, industries, just, I mean, it's a large group of people who are supporting not only the people who are attending, but the manufacturing side too.
Well, and that's how it works. This Manufacturing Matters, there isn't a separate organization. It works as we all contribute our part. There's not a separate staff or a separate anything. It's just all of
Everybody
us doing our
working
little
together.
bit that have created it to become a whole. So
We went through a very deliberate process called strategic doing, and probably all of us have been through strategic planning many times, and that can be very effective, but the strategic doing model, we had Purdue come in and facilitate with our stakeholders, really made it work.
it's very intense.
You're looking at what is it we already have access to in our networks, and what can we create as a realistic vision that we can change the people in this room. And then you go about making that happen. So it's not this lofty, unattainable goal.
How are you going to do it this year?
It really happened.
And you guys did it, and it was great.
It was
So
exciting.
we really appreciate it.
It was a lot
Thank
of
you,
fun.
ladies, for being
Thank
here
you.
with me today and sharing on Manufacturing Matters. And there will be information during this show for them to go further and to apply, and if they have any questions. Thank you again for joining me.
Thank
Thank you.
Denise.
Joining me now are Chris and Amy Oler of Color, Marketing, and Design. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
So we're going to start out because you guys are the owners of Color, Marketing, and Design. So if you'll tell us a little bit about what that is and when you started that company, that would be great.
Okay, well, we started it in August of 2011, and it is a marketing communications company. We're based out of our home in Westfield, and we do web design and print design, a little bit of public relations, but the real focus of our business right now is our children's book series.
Which is one of the top reasons why I invited you to be here today. You guys are the authors and illustrators of a series of books, and my grandchildren love them. So that's why I would like for you to be able to share a lot of that or part of that with our audience today. So let's start with the first book in the series, if you don't mind, and tell us about Molly Goes to Rome, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, the book series in general is about two children who love to travel and love to explore the world. So each book is a different destination around the world that they get to explore. And they explore these places by using their magic suitcase. They have this suitcase that was handed down in their family. They're not quite sure where it came from. But if they grab the handle of the suitcase, it'll take them wherever they want to go in the world. So the first destination that they went to was Rome. And we actually chose Rome because Chris has been there. He's traveled there. And I had a friend who grew up in Rome. And so we kind of got an insider's view of the city by talking to somebody who actually grew up in there. So the big question in the book Molly Goes to Rome is, how do Italians eat spaghetti? And she gets some advice from her dad. She's not quite sure if she trusts him, so she has to go to Italy and find out if that's the truth. And along the way, they see a lot of different places. They experience a new game called Elastico. And finally, they make it to the restaurant where Molly tests the spaghetti, and she learns from their friend Marco how to eat the spaghetti.
And they have a friend that they meet in each book, correct? That helps guide them around wherever they are visiting.
Yeah, and I think that part of that is, the friend that they meet is sort of the extension of the people that we talk to get the local flavor of the place. So as Amy mentioned, for Rome, we talked to somebody who grew up there. For our Molly and the Magic Suitcase book on Barcelona, we talked to a former colleague of mine who is from Spain and who loves Barcelona, travels there often, as well as a family from just south of there, actually, the region south of there. For Thailand, we spoke with somebody, again, who grew up in Thailand, near Bangkok, and in fact lived there until she was in her early 30s. So That's really what these friends who are the characters. They're really giving the information in the book that the people we talked to gave to us.
So you guys are getting your information that you're sharing with this young group firsthand from people who have been there and traveled there. That makes it even more interesting, especially for the adults, because it's nice to know where the information's coming from. And if it's word of mouth, that means that it's a personal opinion which conveys through the books.
We do get a lot of adults who tell us they learn things, a lot of teachers and librarians who tell us they learn things in the books. But the having talked to people who grew up there, who have traveled with children, we want to make sure these books didn't read like a tour book, like a travel guide. We wanted to make sure, Rome, it's such a huge city. What do you tell a kid about Rome? And that's why I asked my Italian friend, what did you like to do as a child there? What does your son like to do when you take him there? Because we didn't want this to be a tour of museums. Kids yawn through museums.
Yes, they do.
We didn't want it to be a tour of buildings with names they don't understand. So you have to be real selective in cities that are this huge with this many sites about what a kid would really get excited about. And I think that is what makes our books a little unique in the marketplace right now.
And what age group is that? Are your books geared towards?
Well, mainly what we thought when we started was ages 4 to 7, but as we found out very recently, apparently kids even younger enjoy them. And I think one of the reviews that we received also said something about that, in that the kids can tell the story through the pictures. That was one of their compliments to Amy's illustrations, and that's of course, when you're doing a book like that, that's what you hope for, and honestly, you just hope it's fun for everyone. As Amy said, adults learn as well, and that's one of the things that we thought about when we were writing the story, was the adults sitting there reading the story over and over. Well, okay, let's make it a little more exciting for them too. So yeah.
And we've learned so much too. It's been exciting for us because we can read the travel guides, but to get these insider's views, we've learned so much about these destinations around the world. It makes it so exciting for us to illustrate and write them too.
So can you tell us what the next one's going to be?
Yes, and we can share a few illustrations from it too. Our next book up is Molly Goes to Peru. And we've got the Machu Picchu ruins. We've got some llamas. We think there's always a reason why they want to go, something they're curious about in particular. Molly wants to learn how to eat spaghetti. Michael wants to see the soccer stadium in Barcelona, the biggest stadium in Europe. In Thailand, Michael wants to find out a game that's played in Thailand that's different from games that are played here. And in our Peru book, I think they want to find out more about llamas, and the word llama is actually a Peruvian word. So we're going to send them to Peru. Yeah, see, we learned something.
Yes.
We're going to send them to Peru to learn about llamas, but they get to learn about so much more when they're there. Another cool thing, and Chris can talk about this, that we found out, is about the floating islands of Euros and Lake Titicaca.
Yeah, there's a plant, a sort of a reed-like plant that they weave together and actually form islands from. And these islands are, I guess, several dozens of square feet. There's even, I think, a little bit of plant life growing on top of those, and they replace the layers as they wear. And these islands just float on the lake.
These people live on these islands. They have their houses on these islands, and there's a school out in the middle where they row up to the school on their islands. And
so it's kind of like a houseboat we would think of, huh?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
They're completely natural fibers and all kinds of amazing things in these countries that we're finding out about. So Peru, and then the clothing, they're going to learn how Peruvians weave their clothing from the llamas and the alpaca wool, how they dye the colors to make these beautiful clothing. And what else? The restaurants and the food, of course. The illustration I'm working on now. Peru actually has over 3,000 varieties of potatoes, and some of them don't even look like potatoes. So we're going to show some of those things in the book as well.
Well, I know that my grandchildren will be looking forward to the next book also. But you also brought another book, The Shield of Horatius, and that is not for the younger group, correct?
No, this is for middle grade readers, probably ages around 9 to 12. We set it at a 5th grade reading level as far as Amazon was concerned, but really younger kids can get through it. It's one of those books where the kids will learn vocabulary going through it just through the context of the story. And it also takes place in Rome. It also features the character that Molly and Michael met in the illustrated book, their friend Marco. He's also a character in this chapter book. So,
the beauty of this book is that you saw Molly and Michael. They're a little bit older to appeal to an older reader. They meet Marco, so it does go back to our original series, but it's a new series called Molly and Michael Mysteries. And they solve a mystery on the streets of Rome. So not only do the kids get to interact in this mystery, but they get to travel to places that we couldn't fit into the picture book.
So it's kind of an extension for a little bit older group
exactly
of the younger books.
So you get to see many more buildings. You get to see some museums. You get to see, what's this called? The that's
the Mithraeum in the San Giovanni Basilica.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to pronounce that.
They get more food, different kinds of food that they get to experience, a lot more language. So it's an extension of this series, and this is going to be a new series. This is the first book in our Molly and Michael Mysteries series that is for older kids. So the same aim, but for an older reader.
Nice. So I know that you guys have been a couple places and read and did. Don't you have some kind of a board that you take for illustrating some places?
When we do talks, we've done a lot of talks at schools. We did a talk at the Morrison Reeves Library, and we did a talk at Star Academy here in Richmond. And when we do talks for the children and also for adults, one of the things we like to do during our talk is show the kids, how do you draw Molly? How do you draw Michael? How do you draw these characters? So I get a whiteboard or a chalkboard, and I show them how I break the characters down into very basic shapes so that I can make them look the same every time I draw them. And the kids just really seem to love to see how the characters can come together like that.
Yeah, I haven't had the opportunity to see you do that yet. I hope to someday. So do you guys have anything coming up that you will be speaking at or presenting at, like in the near future?
Yeah, very shortly we're speaking at the Indiana Blind School, and
really,
and actually for this event we're speaking to the families of the students. But for the event, they've actually put both the chapter book and the Rome book into Braille for the blind students, and just to have an illustrated book converted into Braille, that's really flattering. So. And they're so excited about it. They've really been enthusiastic, and just made us. Of course, we're excited about it too. So
each of the students will get a book, a Braille book, to take home with them, either the chapter book or the picture book, depending on their age.
Yeah.
You guys have a lot of exciting things going on in your life. I am glad that you're sharing it with us today. I just want to point out a couple of things. First of all, you have ties here in Richmond, and which of course then makes you have ties in Richmond. So this is another reflection of Wayne County that is out there, and that I want to make people aware of, is that you're from Richmond, and we do have authors. You're not from here, but through the connection.
My father is from here.
See? And so that's really exciting for us. And I also just want to ask you one more question. Would you tell us the name of your two children?
We have a daughter, Molly, and a son, Michael. Similar names to what you'll find in the children's book series. So the idea actually came from our daughter, Molly. When we were going on a trip to Florida, she kept climbing in our suitcase. And Chris said, Molly in the magic suitcase. And that's where we got the idea for the books. And you can find the books. We have a website, mollyandthemagicsuitcase.com, or the books are also sold on Amazon.com.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate you guys being here today.
Thank you.
Joining me now is Stacey Asbury from the Chamber of Commerce, Director of Marketing and Membership. Hi, Stacey.
How are you, Denise?
I'm doing okay.
Good. Thanks for having me.
I'm glad that you're here.
Me too.
I want to just start with maybe a little report we get to talk about chamber stuff now. So,
Okay.
A little report on the annual dinner.
It was a wonderful event.
Yes, and we had a record-breaking reservation crowd.
That's correct.
Of course, I'm sure it was probably because we had Governor Mike Pence here.
I'm sure that helped a lot.
So that was really an interesting time.
Yes.
So I just wanted to touch and say it's done, it's over.
Yes, and thank you for everyone who helped and attended and make the event a success.
Oh yes, and it would never come off without all the volunteers and the companies that help out with that.
That's correct.
So we do have a couple Chamber Network nights coming up.
That's correct. In February, we're having the holiday Valentine themed at the Holiday Inn Express on February 13th from, remind me of the hours?
5 to 6:30.
5 to 6:30.
And that's going to be one sweet Chamber Network night.
Yes, it's a wonderful facility. If people haven't been out, they really need to check it out.
Yes, that's true. It is very, very nice. And the people who run it and do all the work out there, the employees are fantastic.
They are.
So, and then we have our March one already scheduled.
That's right. March 20th will be at First Merchants Bank at their location on Chester Boulevard.
The timing on that's a little different than normal because they are a bank, so
Yes.
it won't be starting until 5:30.
Okay.
That gives them a time, the time to wrap up their business day and
All right.
get ready to host this and have all those people in.
And that'll be a great time as well.
Yes, it should be. Let's see, what else do we have going?
Well, the Ice Festival is at the end January 31st and February 1st in the Depot District in Center City. There's lots of exciting things going on. People can check out the website at richmondmeltdown.com if they have any questions.
Well, that will be fun and interesting.
I hope so.
Well, I think we touched on a few things, and that's going to wrap up our session and our talk show for today. Thank you for coming, Stacey.
Thank you, Denise.
And thank you for joining us today on Chamber Chat.